So excited! Step 3 is starting! I can't believe we're actually here. I gotta make a whole new me again. Alright, let's start over. I think step 3 is... We're not 13. We were 13. We're 18 now? So... Alright, let's see... Yeah, this was more... My face style changed again. My face style, shape, everything just changes every few years, which is great. Okay, so for eyes... I think my eyes are just gonna stay the same. Eye color's gonna stay the same. Can't even change it. Alright, hair. What are we doing with our hair? My hair at 18 is basically what it is now, actually. So that makes it easy. I have like... Oh, that's really cool, but I don't have cool hair like that. That's also really cool. Let's see, I gotta look at all the things. No, that's not quite right. Two tones is definitely not right. I'm not cool enough for the two-tone. Wow, so many. Whoa, 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 okay. Let's see, let's see. No. Smooth, choppy. It might be that, maybe flowy 1? Very cute. Not my style, though. There are so many options. I can't get over it. Okay, we're back around. I think flowy 1 is gonna be my best bet. Okay. And then I went chop chop on the hair, so... I don't know if we've got any kind of layer thing going on. Wavy 1 might be the one. Let's see, what else we got? Although this is a bit shorter. Okay, wavy 1 or wavy 2 for Miss Wave Rider. Let's see, what else we got? Cute buns, we got some scrappy going on. Giant, oh man, those are giant pigtails. Let's see. Pulled back, smooth, choppy. Choppy! Yeah, actually, choppy works. That's good. Yeah, brown is still gonna be my boring color. Okay, there we go. So far so good. Birthmark still... Let's see. Not freckles yet. Let's clear up some of that acne. Hand size the same. And then, at 15, I went and got contacts, so I don't wear glasses basically at all anymore. That is a thing of the past. Let's see. Kind of earrings. Let's go for some silver hoops. Thick. Got some thick lips. That looks right. Okay, next page. Birthmarks. Okay, by 18, had a scar on my leg. Fun fact, I got bit by a dog when I was 17. So I still have the scar from the big chomp. So that's there. What else we got? Clothing types. 18. Kind of basically the same still, honestly. Then accessories. I don't wear bracelets basically anymore by this point. Necklaces still. No braces. Okay. Rings. Definitely wearing rings. Jewels. Pattern. Plain. Okay, Okay, I'm past my big clunky costume jewelry at this point, so probably plain. Headscarf. Oh, that's neat. Oh, I love that. That's gorgeous. Wow. That is really, really pretty. I love all of these colors. Okay, cool. I love it. Nail length. Short. I mean, I grow my nails, but I don't like get my nails done. I didn't then, I don't now. I did paint my nails occasionally in the summer. What colors do I want? Purple, of course. And I don't have a nose ring, so I just want to check one thing real quick. Just want to make sure my eyes are still the same. Should I make myself sleepier? I'll put it back to oval, I think. Although, I'm starting to wear more makeup, so maybe sharp. I think sharp 1 actually works better. Okay, there you go. There's me. And I basically haven't changed much from here. I'm older, but my overall style is basically the same as it was when I was 18. There you go. My feelings for Cove. Am I still nervous? Probably, because we haven't, like, moved to the next stage of our relationship yet as of the end of step 2. So, I guess I'll keep it at crush. Nervous crush? That probably makes the most sense. I can't wait to see what Cove looks like. Alright. Yep, nervous crush. Lock me in. Okay, I don't want to do anything. Let's just see. What is tutorial time? Since you're romantically interested in Cove and are old enough to start being physically affectionate, scandalous, more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has throughout this step. Go on. Making sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So, we've added some flexibility in how it works out. Low initiative means that Cove will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in those situations there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. For example, he won't simply lean over and kiss the MC as a greeting or in an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will be either initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Middle initiative means there will be those certain times when Cove requests to touch the MC, many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also he will pretty regularly give affection automatically. One example would be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy, or emotional, or something else. And in other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Cove the space to be the one to act afterwards. Overall, the love interest can get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything middle does, but it also means that player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having Cove give physical affection even more frequently and with less prompting. Instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Cove acting automatically. This level is only recommended if you're very comfortable with physical affection and would prefer to simply see it happen rather than always holding the reins on it. That's really nice that they give you, like, all these options. It's just lovely. However, this level is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Noted. Situations where high-level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. The parts that are also included in the middle initiative which will be seen whether you're dating or not. Once you pick your level, it can't be changed partway through a step. The choice only comes up at the very beginning of a story section. We hope you enjoy whichever initiative option you decide on. What initiative level? I'm personally very comfortable with physical affection. I don't need to, you know, be choosing, whether yes in this case or no in that case. I'm quite confident in the high initiative, so for me, I think this is the right choice. And with that, we're on our bicycles again. Let's see what happens. The start of classes ended the relaxed, free days of summer. It didn't take long for you to get back into the swing of the school year routine. Schedules and homework became the new normal. Derek wasn't around nearly as much. My heart. With school and after-school activities, there weren't many opportunities for him to take the trip out to your neighborhood. Sometimes you'd hear that he was at a training camp or something like that, but you weren't always sure what he was up to. Ooh. If I'm being honest with myself, I hated talking on the phone. Especially if, I never heard from the other person, I would just kind of slowly not reach out. So, if I'm being honest, as much as it sucks, I love Derek to bits, but knowing who I was at that time, probably would have lost contact. The Jeremy kid did disappear after that summer, and no one ever heard from him again. Where he went, or what he might be up to, was a mystery. In another game. You saw more of Miranda around. Since you had hung out with her on her birthday, she had opened up to you. The two of you talked regularly. She was the same towards Cove. Well, that's nice. After a while, all three of you developed a real friendship together. Hooray! More summers came and went like the waves on the shore, coming in and out. In your second year of high school, someone new started to visit Sunset Bird, a sunny girl named Terry Brooke. She was a friend Cove made due to them both being ocean-obsessed. Hey, awesome! Join the ocean crew! Terry was more than glad to befriend you too. Someone close to Cove had to be good company, she felt. You were pleased to get along with her as well. Funnily enough, Terry was also extremely tight with Miranda, who she had known for even longer than Cove. The four of you were able to create a small friend circle. Yay for friend circles. As for your home life, the Wave Riders also had developments. Go on. Changing laws and public perception countrywide made it possible for your moms to openly wear their wedding rings without questions. Hey, let's go. Though they had a wedding years ago, it was only recently that the union was officially recognized everywhere in the US. That was a good day, to say the least. Elizabeth came into her own and stopped being quite as irritable. Yay! She no longer worried about perceived childishness as she grew up for real. She didn't even mind being called Lizzie again, although most people used Liz. She eventually graduated high school and moved out to attend college in another state. Oh wow, okay. It was a lot for you to adjust to your older sister being gone. Liz never let you forget her role in your life though and kept in touch. Thanks, Liz. Cove's relationship with his family improved over the years. Kyra visited several times after that summer, and things became easier between the two. Also awesome. He was also closer with his dad than ever before. You knew they talked more, and that helped prevent a lot of friction before it could start. However, Cove grew into someone no one would call social. He kept to himself usually. He cared for the few connections he did have, but didn't reach outside them. Sounds like me. Cove had shifted from preferring athletics to becoming more seriously studious as his schooling went on. Interesting. Oh. Matured affection. Alright, that's what we got. Your feelings for Cove hadn't wavered. However, you grew to have a better understanding of what exactly those feelings actually were. Your attraction to him was special and reserved for very few people. It was strange to look back on it all. The future faded into your present, and then it was simply the past. Even the most fundamental parts of your life couldn't last forever. You felt that the most pointedly the day you inevitably graduated high school. It was over, and you would not be going back ever again. From now on, what came next was your choice. You would be directing your own life. That was where you were currently. The summer after school had ended. The first summer of true freedom. What used to be a reprieve from the typical was now going to be your first step into adulthood. Wow, is this our house? Whoa, it's beautiful. I like how it looks. One fine summer morning, you took in what had become a very special scene, the whole family having a meal together. Liz is here! Your big sister Liz still hadn't lived at home full-time for a couple of years, but she arrived last week to spend the season here since it was an off semester for her. Hooray! She wanted to make sure she was in town because you had now also graduated high school, so who knew how much rarer these moments would become in the future. You watched on as Liz laughed good-naturedly over a comment Mom made. Her Elizabeth-only mindset had only been a phase. Nearly any nickname was welcomed at this point in her life. Strangely, even though she'd moved away, you'd lately felt closer to her than you had in a long time. You idly scooped up more of your breakfast and chewed absent-mindedly. You were a vegetarian, a vegan, a pescatarian, a proletarian, a picky eater, or ate whatever. Yeah, at this point, whatever. And the meal you had reflected that. It included just about everything your moms had made, though you often made your own food nowadays. With Liz around, though, your parents made even more options than usual. Your sister had been vegetarian for a while, and they wanted to make sure she had choices too. Very nice of them. Oh no! Our moms are getting older! But they're still beautiful. Conversation had gone on idly without you fully taking in the words until your ears were piqued when Ma started on a bit of town gossip. And so that's how I heard the news. All right. Now stop burying the lead and tell us. What is this so-called news? Ma giggled as she cast a look across the table, satisfied that she had everyone's attention. Well, it turns out the Donnells won't be renting out the condo up the street as per Sunset Bird tradition for the first time in what must be nearly 2 decades. A chorus of gasps and shocked expressions were had all around. After the initial shock, your eyebrows pinched. Ma may consider them by name, but you and Liz always viewed them exclusively as the mean old couple who would yell at anyone under 25 who crossed their paths. I was wondering if it was those guys. Your Ma continued on with the story, spreading strawberry jam over a piece of toast as she did so. They've decided not to take big trips anymore. Friends and family will be visiting them at their home. That's nice for them, then. Have a good summer, meeting grandparents with no grandkids, away from us. Finally, they can piss off. My thoughts exactly, Liz. Be nice, kids. They were mean. You don't want to end up like them, do you? You and your sister cracked smiles at the joke.
Well?
At least they won't be here to yell at my children anymore. Exactly.
Lonnie.
And that blunt comment got laughter from all three of you. Engrossed in conversation once more, you continued to chat with your family until the meal was over. Nice. Hello? Third time's charm. I love it. Alright. Third time's the charm. As it went, once the food was eaten, the cleanup had to be done. Liz took the role of washing the dishes and passed them to you for drying and putting away. You had a set of cups in front of you that needed to go on the top shelf of the cabinet. As soon as I read top of the cabinet, I am short, not very short. That was simply your lot in life. You'd always been vertically challenged. Yes. Yes, I have. You felt great. You hoped you might still grow more. At 18, I still held out hope. I'm like, maybe I'll be one of those rare cases that's still growing at like 21. But those thoughts weren't anything new. You hadn't been content with your height for a long time. Yep. Liz, how much taller are you than me? Liz shook you out of your internal musing by starting up an impromptu conversation. She seemed to be voicing the thoughts that had been buzzing around in her own head. I have to say, going back for another semester this fall is pretty intimidating. You'd think after the first year or two I'd have a handle on things, but no. You stole a glance at her, still placing cups in the proper place. I guess it's only fair. My first round was pretty general classes, and year 1 of my architecture major was the basics. Now it feels serious. I have to actually know some things. The laugh she gave was flippantly airy, but the way she scrubbed at the plates held more force than necessary. I think it's really cool you want to be an architect. Don't be too impressed yet. Wait to see if it actually happens, but thanks. Your older sister's mouth quirked into a small smile. It'll be fine, one way or another.
Oh.
But I'm not trying to scare you away from college, if that's even your plan. What is going on with that anyway? Absolutely no idea. You answered the question as much as you were able and willing to. Liz's smile grew more reassuring as you did. You made it through 12 years of full-time education already. You've got plenty going for you. Sometimes it still felt hard to believe your public schooling experience was over. In the end... So I was homeschooled, but I did do high school through an online class. So, what I remember, I mean, I have no idea. I don't think there's any chance I was top of my class. No way. But I did have high marks, so it's like one of these. Soaring kind of makes me think like it was easy. So I'll go with this one. Work hard, but rewarded with great grades. Yeah, I did miss it. I missed it when it was over. It had been a familiar and fulfilling part of your life. Liz picked up on the silence her question ended up creating. She decided it was time to make a closing statement on the topic.
You're a good girl.
Aw, thanks. Do what's best for you, and we'll be here to back it up. Thank you. At that, Liz happily passed the final dish your way. She waved a soapy, soaked hand as a farewell and moved on to her next task for the cleanup job. You refocused on getting the last pieces put back where they belonged. You eventually moved on to a new chore, but that was interrupted by the sound of your cell phone. Yeah, we don't have to share phones anymore in the house. Yep, one of my most beloved songs. You casually picked it up from the table where you had placed it earlier. The phone was a couple years old at this point, having been a 16th birthday gift from your parents. They decided which model to get, but you got to pick the color. It was... purple! And it had a special charm, which was... I can do the keychain! I'm gonna do the keychain! You can't stop me! You were pleased when you finally had a prominent place to use the gift. The screen lit up as you gave the little device a swipe with one finger. You were informed by caller ID that it was Lee. You weren't surprised. Despite having busier and busier lives and not living in the same town, you still had a good relationship with your cousin of the same age. Especially once the miracle of the both of you having your own phones actually happened. She got hers first, though. Tapping at the accept button, you answered her call. A familiar, bubbly voice came through right after.
Hi.
Oh my goodness! Look at you! And look at my turtle! So cute! Hey, Molly! Hi, Lee. I trust I'm not interrupting anything major. Only some cleaning around the house. Oh, then you're welcome for my call. A distraction from that must have been desperately needed. Yes, thank you, my dear cousin.
My pleasure.
She giggled, and you could hear the jangling of the jewelry she must be wearing.
Nothing amazing is happening for me either. I'm bored and felt like chatting. My morning shift ended, so I'm free for the rest of the day. Woo!
That's good. 18. Yes, I was working. I was off from my part-time job. Like you, Lee had started dipping her toes into the work face? Yes, the work face. The workforce as of late. It made keeping in touch frequently even more complicated, but you both managed.
What about you?
It's been pretty normal.
Cool.
That's you then. So, how's Mr. Cove Holden doing?
Why would you ask about him specifically? There was a teasing bent to her tone. She was never willing to let up on what was going on between the two of you. Definitely had friends like that. But that name was incredibly familiar to your ears. Cove, your next-door neighbor for the past decade at this point. Two of you were close. That was all you could think on it. He was your best friend. At least you hadn't admitted you felt more than that just yet. He was an important friend, but you secretly hoped he'd tell you he felt more than that. He was someone you had affection for, but you didn't want to take the relationship further. But he was far more than just someone who lived on the same street. He was your boyfriend. Okay, so you could, like, in the meanwhile, have been dating. Yeah, probably this one. Important friend, but secretly hoped he'd tell me he felt more than that. Cove was so very special to you. You could only dream that it was mutual. You knew you wouldn't be able to tell him that, though. Maybe he would take the plunge. Oh, so accurate.
Are you even surviving without the boy being 10 feet away at all times? Or is everything right with the world again and he's back?
No, Lee, he isn't here. Just like he wasn't here yesterday, or the last time you asked, or the time before that.
Sorry.
Aw, my bad. Can you blame me? Doesn't it seem like he should have made his grand return already? Plus, I want to visit soon and he needs to be there too.
You could understand where she was coming from. This was certainly outside the norm. For the past couple months, and the last few weeks especially, Cove had been going to his mom's place in Nevada. Interesting. The two of you still regularly stayed in contact over texts and calls, but still. Your mind began to drift back in time to all the prior trips he'd taken to visit her. Almost every year, he'd have to go away for a while, and then he'd be back. It was nice to have breaks. It was just shitty. It upset you, your younger self worried about him leaving for good. It's his mom. Like, I probably would have worried, but I wouldn't say I'd be, like, upset. Just sad. I'll go with the sad and lonely. You sent him letters the entire time. Your mom's helped you shipped out care packages. You gave him special treasures to take with him. You kept an eye on his house for him. You were incapable of doing anything. Oof. I probably would have done this, honestly. Some were just to borrow, and others were for him to keep forever. He sent you letters while there in return. That's how it was in the past, but lately he had been trying to see her as much as he could before taking long trips to another state became too impractical to do. His part-time work could become full-time soon, or he could be moving somewhere else for school. Cove hadn't actually been entirely clear what his plans were after graduation. Uh-oh. Cove was hesitant to speak on that, even with you. It couldn't be avoided forever, though. You both knew that.
Well?
Ahem. Maybe we should switch this up to a non-Cove related topic.
Yeah. The rest of the conversation rolled on. Not much longer, though. Lee had to go, and you needed to finish your responsibilities around the house. The both of you exchanged goodbyes, then you went back to what you'd been working on before the call came in. Nice hat. As you wrapped up the last of your chores, you were approached by Liz wearing a cheeky smile. Uh-oh, what do you want? Also, how does your ribbon match so perfectly your hat? That is incredible. I've got Mom's keys. Want to get out of this tiny town to do some shopping in a real city? I can do that if you want me to come.
Good.
I'm driving. That was obvious. You didn't know how to drive. Yeah, I can drive too, but it's her plan, so I'm okay with it. Go get your wallet and anything else. We're going now. With a nod, you made a quick detour to collect your stuff from your bedroom. You had money saved up from all the part-time work you'd done, as well as from gifts you'd received. I have more than $20 now. Let's go! After making sure you both were fully prepared for the long haul to the largest city in the surrounding area, you buckled into the car. It was a smooth ride there, with light conversation about what shops to stop at and the radio blasting. The trip there breezed by, and in what felt like no time you had gone from cruising down the road to cruising through the mall. Liz had her interests to check out, and you yours. Yeah, basically. Still the ones I developed. When turning a corner down a new length of the mall, your eyes caught on a little gift store. Your friends and family had recently given you many presents for graduating high school. Yeah. Should do that. Graduation may have already come and gone, but Cove wasn't really around then anyway. You'd keep an eye out for something good, though you might have something nice for him at home already. Okay. Eventually, the mall was explored in full, with every shop of note being checked over. Rather than going home, you decided to walk over to some smaller stores nearby. This is another lovely background. Liz had many thoughts on that topic.
So?
Honestly, malls are not a bastion of society. Even if smaller stores require extra distance, the brands are so much more. Then your sister abruptly stopped speaking and walking right in the middle of the path. It was a good thing that no one was behind her. She seemed to entirely shut off for a moment. You okay, girl? Liz? The attempt to catch her attention was unsuccessful. Something else had all her focus. Before you could puzzle out what might be happening, she began to mumble out of the corner of her mouth. Molly, don't draw attention, but look. What? With a harsh whisper and a subtle jerk of her head, she urged you once more.
Hey!
Look! You followed her gaze as best you could to a large bunch of colorful teens strolling down the same path. Okay. You faced back over to your sister with a confused expression and an unspoken question. What were you supposed to be seeing there? Molly, doesn't one of them seem familiar? Oh my god, are you gonna tell me this is Shiloh? I'm squinting, girl. I'm squinting real hard. She was practically bouncing at this point, so you looked the group over again, and this time you saw what she was seeing. Oh my god! He's back! Dun dun dun! Shiloh! Teenage Shiloh with his hat! He's here! Amongst the collection of strangers was brown hair, gray eyes, and lots of freckles. Shiloh, are you dating JB in this timeline or no? That's Shiloh! Our Shiloh! From when we were kids! Yep, that was definitely him. I can't believe it! He's honestly just there. That's hilarious. That's incredible. Oh, but how do we talk to him? We'd have to pull him away from all those other people, and what if I'm wrong? Your mouth opened to reply, but she cut it off with her own answer to the question. I've got it. I'll shout the name Shiloh, and then we can act like it wasn't us. If he responds to that, we'll know without a doubt it's him. Molly, keep an eye out to see if he looks. This is dumb. We are not doing that. It's a terrible plan. Likely without even hearing what you had to say, Liz put her plan into action. Shiloh! She loudly projected the word across the way and then put on an act of casualness, turning her head away from the scene while brushing at the skirt of her dress. In a supremely awkward moment, you could only stand there as attention in the area shifted to the two of you thanks to your sister's shout. But of the many startled bystanders who became altered to your presence, or probably alerted to your presence, one of them was the boy. From a distance, his large eyes met yours. He looked. A wide grin took over Liz's face. She pushed the rim of her sun hat up and away from her face while swishing back around to greet her old friend directly. Shiloh! I'm surprised that she's like so happy to see him, but I'm touched. Waving, she stepped a bit closer to express her intention to meet without really closing the gap. She wanted him to come to her. Who you presumed to be Shiloh looked surprised at the call-out. He stole a quick glance at the crowd he was with and hesitantly glanced back your way. He was trying to double-check something. Liz remained steadfast with her gaze trained on him, and ultimately he broke away from the rest of them. Alright. After a light-footed jog across the brick path, the young man pleasantly presented himself in front of Liz and you.
Hi.
Shiloh? I like your hat. Oh, of course he would like your hat. Just that simple greeting had Liz giggling.
Hey.
I'm not sure if you remember this, but I'm Lizzie and that's Molly. We were all friends when we were little kids. His already wide eyes grew even larger, their gaze darting between you and Liz. His previously chipper demeanor faded into something delicate. I'm really sorry, but I think you had the wrong person. You could tell not being instantly recognized was going to make this exchange more of a challenge. Still, Liz was undeterred. It was a long time ago. You were really young. I get why you feel like that. However, I'm positive I'm right. You're exactly the same. That face, the freckles, how genially you try to phrase things. You're even still wearing a hat. Instinctively, he looked up at his headwear with creased brows, not making the connection on why the hat meant something to her.
Okay.
We knew each other. An uneasy smile settled on him as a silence followed Liz's speech. He was picking his next words carefully. And then the quiet was obliterated by a new voice bursting into the conversation. I wonder who this is. It's a field trip. Why do I feel like it's Nate? Maybe it's not Nate, but just because someone is yelling, I'm like, is it Nate?
Shiloh, what are you doing? The rest of the group already left. A field trip is not a vacation. We are on a schedule.
Startled, your head snapped towards the path. A distinctly unhappy individual with piercing magenta eyes, dark brown skin, and a sharp jaw stormed your way. He carried a cloud of authority with him, despite looking like he wasn't even 18 yet.
Sorry.
I knew it. I knew it was freaking Nate. Nate is always yelling. He's always upset. I know my boy. I know him. I didn't mean to ditch. Shiloh, whose name was now officially confirmed, gestured with a hand to add to the explanation of his absence as the stranger watched impatiently. They thought they recognized me as someone they knew, but it was a tiny misunderstanding. Liz, theoretically as well as literally, put her foot down at that, stomping in frustration and getting more childish the longer she was around her childhood companion.
Come on.
We do know you! Shiloh merely shrunk in on himself. The tone he spoke with was pained. Sorry. You honestly couldn't tell if he was apologizing for the upset feelings of your sister, or the palpable dissatisfaction of this new acquaintance. That in itself was very Shiloh-like.
Oh, you know him, is that it?
The stranger spoke in a dismissively scoffing tone, as if the words sounded so absurd to him it was almost amusing. Almost. But the sternness of his demeanor quickly reinstated itself.
Well, do you know me? I'll tell you. I'm someone who has been forced against his will to be aware of what's going on in Shiloh's ridiculous personal life for a year. If the two of you had any importance in his general day-to-day existence, it would have come up by now.
Well, but it's Shiloh, Nate. You gotta understand these things, alright? Also, I'm sad that I can't see you right now. Please come into the light.
Don't bother trying to exaggerate any trivial connection you might have. It's not good enough. He's with us, and you'll survive without him. Now stop loitering in the road. It's rude.
Excuse me?
We're the rude ones? The high-strung ranting got an audible gasp from Shiloh, who finally started to speak up again in defense.
Nate, that's really mean. It's also true. We're leaving.
With that declaration, the unofficially introduced Nate indignantly spun on his heels and walked speedily towards where the group went, completely confident that Shiloh would follow behind. Is the entire jerk squad there? Because that would be amazing.
Oh. People can sure have bad attitudes, huh? Why can't they just try to get along? It's not hard. Don't worry, though. I bet you won't have to deal with him again. And I'm sorry I can't stay to talk to you, but I hope you have a really nice life.
Thanks.
Bye.
And that was it. His final parting words given, Shiloh left the two of you behind to catch up with his own life that he had to go live. Oh, sorry, Liz. That sucks. Liz watched his exit, stunned, only to frown when it hit her that he was really gone as quickly as he appeared. It happened so fast she hadn't even been able to get a word in. She sighed, all the energy she built up releasing with the breath. I could have told him his last name was Fields, his birthday is October 30th. That would have proved it, but no. Shiloh grew up to be dumb. Whoever Nate is, he sucks. No, he's wonderful. Nate is wonderful. Well, damn. Yeah, I think I would feel equally deflated. That could have been a nice moment, and instead it was disappointing. Aren't you gonna go after him? Liz merely shook her head, pushing off childish thoughts. I think we can leave it there, thanks. He's in the middle of a high school field trip, and it was already enough being able to see him. There's something reassuring about witnessing firsthand that he's still out there enjoying his own part of the world. Though, if given the chance, I could definitely have a few words with him about the company he's got. He's in good company, trust me. She laughed, but you could tell there wasn't much humor to it. She was mad at that guy, even if she was happy to let Shiloh go. Maybe they're only with each other because of the trip, and it's not usually how things are.
Right?
True. We can only hope the same for him as he did for us. Have a nice life, Shiloh. Good luck out there. You'll need it. Liz smiled at you. It had the self-confidence you knew so well from her. Come on, little baby sister. Let's finish our own trip. Yeah. I wonder if that's the last we'll see of Shiloh. No matter how either of you really felt about the occurrence, it was something you simply had to accept. People you know just disappear and reappear in the most unexpected ways. The two of you enjoyed what remained of your outing until it was time to return home. By the time you arrived back, the sun was already beginning to set. You arched your back as you stretched your arms towards the ceiling. While it had been a good day, it had enough activity to cover an entire week. Liz tried to hide a yawn behind her hands. You weren't the only one feeling worn out. I'll be heading up to your room. I mean, the guest room. Since mine stopped being available as soon as I was out the door. Her tone was light. She'd had quite a lot to say on the subject when you'd first taken over her bigger room after she left for college. Oh. But there had been many trips back home for her since then. The room hasn't been hers for years. It was more of a running joke now that she continued to bring the topic up to this day. Thanks for being so gracious about giving it up. I had no choice. A small laugh was shared between you and your older sister. You better believe you'll be back in the guest room when you've got your own place and we're both in town for a visit. We can take turns. You'll have Thanksgiving, I'll get Christmas. What a reasonable and mature suggestion. I'll think about accepting it. She flashed her familiar grin, and you couldn't help but feel glad she was back around, even if it was temporary. I like the relationship we've got going with her now. With that, she plodded off to the spare room. You were ready to do the same. Moving into a new space was your first opportunity to decorate from scratch. Get out of town? What? Guys, I'm gonna be here forever. Everybody get comfy. Ooh. Ah, it's even got my two favorite colors, yellow and purple. Amazing. What do I want? I like this one because it's got a bookshelf and a gaming station, you know? But I like the colors here, but there's just like not enough books. I think I gotta go green. I think this is more accurate for me. Wonder what the extras is. Was that... Oh, okay. It depends on the room. Hold on. I got flowers and candles. Okay. And yellow. Tissues and a couple more books. And some trophies. Okay. I'm gonna stick with the green for the windows. Ooh. Yes. More books. A giant shell. Sounds right. There's... Oh, no. Hold on a minute. Okay, I just need to double check these things. Hold on. Okay, so those things don't count. Okay. Okay, we're fine. Books or plants? Books. Tiny plants? Oh, so cute! Oh, do I want the shell or the... Oh, I gotta go to the toys. They're so cute! I know I'm 18. I don't care. I've had these toys forever. Okay, let's see. Big shark? Or nothing? I'm undecided. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Ooh. I kind of like that. Maybe back 3? Lights for sure. Well, if it'll let me. There we go. Yeah! I like it. A ball. A guitar, a ukulele. A telescope. I think that's... I like it. I think that's gonna be my room. We got a bunch of books, we got some toys. Got some sea pictures. Perfect. Dunzo. Dunzo McGee. You were really satisfied with the feel of your tiny part of the world. I can't believe they let you design your own room, too. That's great. As your thoughts drifted, you tried to bite down another yawn. It was no good. Your bed was now lodged in your mind, and all you could think about was collapsing on it. You trudged up the stairs to your room. Stepping inside, you closed the door behind you, blocking the rest of the house. When you turned back around, you realized you were not alone there. Comfortably perched on the windowsill was someone very familiar to you. When did you get here? Oh my god! You got long hair and a ponytail and glasses. You look wonderful. You look absolutely wonderful. Cove Holden. How are you here?
Surprise?
His tone was easy and relaxed. It certainly was a surprise. You hadn't expected him to be within the state, never mind your own house. He hadn't answered how he had suddenly just appeared back in Sunset Bird, though to be fair, you had been so astounded there hadn't been much of an opportunity for him to chat with you. Thankfully, Cove was only waiting for a good moment to start and began to explain.
So...
I got in about 15 minutes ago. No one was home, so I figured I'd come in the usual way.
The window. Still. A small smile had formed on his face. You were still staring at him, unable to blink in case he disappeared. You could still barely believe that he was really there, mere feet away from you.
I left my bags in your backyard. I hope that's alright.
That was when you truly understood. Cove had come straight to you upon getting back to town. You were his first port of call, taking precedence above all else. Stop. Even though you hadn't been in when he called, Cove had ensured that he'd see you at the earliest opportunity rather than allowing his plans to change. I think I would have ran. I would have been like so happy. Every second away from him was a moment too long. As you approach, Cove quickly hopped from the windowsill to meet you. It's the most amazing man in the world! I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, I probably would have pulled him into a bone-crushing hug. Absolutely. Hey, you. Nice bracelets. You got some cool jewelries going on, my dude. Cove squeaked as you crushed the air from his lungs. He awkwardly managed to wrap his own arms around you back in return. He moved to wrap his arms around your shoulders, and he tucked his head into your neck. His breath was warm against your skin.
I missed you.
Even if he hadn't said it outright, you would have gotten the message from his body language. Cove was grinning widely, his raised cheeks burying his eyes, which gleamed like hidden gems. But he looked at you as if you were the most exciting treasure of all. Stop. Was it a good trip?
Yeah.
Cove told you about how his trip back had gone. His mom was doing really well. She had a project in the works that she was thrilled about. As a result, Cove was going to be sticking around in Sunset Bird for the time being. Things were settled as much as they ever could be. With Cove back once more, you felt at ease. Cove stretched his arms out over his head, his eyes on the window and the world beyond. The sun had set while you'd been busy reuniting.
Well,
I should probably get my stuff and see Dad.
He glanced over to you with a familiar, expectant look.
Wanna come with me?
Sure, I can go over for a little while.
cool.
Cove began to head to your bedroom door. You insisted on a piggyback ride. Amazing. I'm fine. This is fine. The two of you casually went down to the ground floor of your house. In all the excitement of Cove's return, you hadn't even remembered the gift you'd prepared for when he got back. It would be best to give it to him now before you left your house. Can you wait here for a little while? I got something for you. Cove's eyes widened as he tried to conceal a smile. He toyed with the collar of his top.
Really?
I mean, you didn't have to do that.
You nodded with some eagerness, trying to imagine how he'd react when he actually saw it. I was terrible at making things. Still am, honestly, so I probably just bought it. It was a dolphin-shaped balloon. An anklet for you to model. Stop. Oh, man. These are just all memories. From when we were kids, from when we started step 2, the fish, bracelets, the strawberry swirl. You know what? Strawberry swirl ice cream cups. You left Cove by the door as you headed over to the freezer. You retrieved the case of ice cream tubs from the freezer, dusting off a fine spray of ice in the process. These were something you knew well. The man at the park that day had handed these out to all the attendees, but this was a gift intended for only one. You returned to Cove and held the present out to him. Cove clutched a hand to his mouth as he tried to stifle a laugh. You'd taken him by surprise. That was fair. It wasn't often that people gifted each other with boxes of ice cream swirls, but you hadn't been able to resist when you'd spotted this familiar box for sale. The cold pinched at your fingers, but you ignored it, thoughts preoccupied. The treats brought back memories of a day spent on food, fireworks, family, and friends. And Cove was a very special person to you indeed.
I've been craving these recently. And it's the strawberry ones too. My favorite type. How did you know?
You chuckled, pleased that he appeared to have made the connection. I had a feeling. He lifted the nostalgic box from your hands and looked it over. It wasn't a flashy container. It was made of brown cardboard and printed in black ink. You didn't think they'd updated their packaging in all that time. It was lucky, really. Anything more would have made it less likely for Cove to recognize it for what it was.
There's a lot in here. I'll be sure to share.
His voice was quiet, almost like he'd barely managed to get the words out. You recalled how you'd exchanged spoonfuls of ice cream as kids, and your face grew hot as you thought about the implications of that now. Your tongue was tied. You couldn't form an answer. Instead, you simply nodded and wished you could press the freezing box against your burning cheeks.
You're really, seriously too nice to me.
You smiled back. You're worth it. Cove brushed his hand against the pale ghost of a scar on his arm. He was at a loss for what to do now. The clock ticked away, counting the seconds of silence. Once you'd had a chance to settle your thoughts, you figured you'd tell Cove the intriguing news. I saw Shiloh today.
Huh?
Shiloh?
Cove repeated the name, his expression blank. Oh, not you two! From when we were kids. Cove pondered for a moment, then snapped his fingers.
Oh, he was the freckly boy from that first summer, right? The one who moved.
Uh-huh. I met someone called Shiloh. He looked just like Shiloh from back then. Well, you waved a hand, acknowledging the passing of time and so forth. Cove nodded understandingly. He didn't remember me. Then he had to go. Cove frowned.
That's... I don't know. Too bad I missed it, though you knew him better than I did.
That was definitely true. Not only had Cove known Shiloh for a shorter period of time, but he and Shiloh had never quite gotten along. Not that they were enemies either, just kids who were only ever together because of other people they both knew.
I wonder what Shiloh's up to these days.
I don't have any idea. He didn't say much.
Oh.
Oh well.
That was everything you had on that news item, so you moved into the next big update. Also, you know the mean old neighbors? The ones who would always yell at us? He cringed, recalling those particular memories of back in the day was not pleasant even for someone as nostalgic as him.
Yeah?
They're not coming. They didn't rent the condo this summer. Cove's jaw dropped. You didn't blame him. The elderly couple had been an institution for as far back as you could remember, long predating Cove's arrival. Even now, as a teenager, you found your neck pricking as you walked by their condo, half expecting a scolding for breathing the wrong way in the vicinity of their vacation home. It was strange to think of that coming to an end.
Wow.
I wonder who's gonna move in there. Cove blinked, clearly struggling with the idea in the same way you had.
I didn't see that coming. People being gone, people coming back. It feels like I've missed a lot. This has been a busy summer already.
Well, you haven't missed the fireflies. They haven't shown up yet.
Well, that's something. And we'd better not get left behind. There's still stuff to do.
You nodded. The two of you headed out and traced the most familiar path you'd ever walked, the trip across the road over to Cove's house. It seemed that no sooner had the night begun than it was already at an end, and the dawn of a new day was soon upon you.